Hi, welcome back to my garden. It's a nice overcast, cool summer day here on Vancouver Island. And I wanted to show you some of my peonies because a couple years ago, I think it was September 2023, I made a video about some peonies which I recognized by the foliage, but they had never bloomed. They were growing under some like overgrown bushes over there. So like they weren't getting enough light. Maybe they had been buried too deeply as well. So I decided to dig them up, kind of investigate the tubers. I think I still have some footage so I can show it. But basically I dug up this giant clump, divided it into viable tubers, each with its own sets of eyes. So like growth points. And there's like, that's an eye there. There's like two there, and I think it's like recommended that you have at least like three per clump. Or at least that will be an indicator of how soon it will bloom. I think if there's just like one, it might take a little bit longer. And then decided to plant 5 of them back in here, kind of like a little hedge. So last year, each clump kind of put out one bloom, and then this year they're putting out like a lot more. So basically all the ones that you see here. So I would count that as a success. I'll show you some close-ups of the flowers because they're so pretty. Some of them, or they seem to be starting off kind of like a very blushy pale pink, and then they kind of fade to white the longer that they've been open. So this one I think is the one that's been open the longest. So it's pretty much gone white. And then like, look at those petals, so pretty. This whole area looks quite different from when I had planted them because I've planted so many other things since. This one has some like pretty, like darker pink markings along the edges. So these ones flop a fair amount. I think they're just like the standard peony. So I've used some bamboo to kind of stake them up to kind of make almost like a cage. It was dual purpose, partially to protect from the dogs because I don't think they'd want to run into bamboo, and then partially to hold the peonies up. And I've also arched some dogwood. I don't know if you can see the arch over there. So just like red stick dogwood that's native here. There's another one over here that's actually put on a bunch of upgrowth. So what I'm going to do is in springtime next year, I'll come in and cut that basically down to like the main structure, and then it will shoot back up in time to support the peonies again, kind of late spring next year. On the other side of the cottage garden here, I also have some other peonies that I moved the year before. So these were like the real kind of experimental ones, and these were the ones that I kind of did my troubleshooting with, but they look like fantastic. These ones have been open a little bit longer, and they're just like the most gigantic white blooms. So these ones were actually, I'll pan slowly. These ones were actually growing under the giant maple tree over there. So they had bloomed once, and I had seen one white bloom. So I knew what color they were going to be, but that was about it. And kind of same. So I like dug them up, divided them into viable tubers, and now there's like all these big, beautiful blooms. I kind of did the same thing with the dogwoods over here. Ooh. I don't know if the camera caught that, but the ravens are doing their morning acrobatics. I also love like these irises are kind of going over now, but I love the combination of like these with the white and then the red rose, the red bud foliage. It kind of all really does it for me. Ooh. Anyway, I also want to show you some other clumps that I'm debating whether to dig up. So one clump that I've been debating digging up is this one over here. And they have like beautiful dark, I don't know, magenta? I don't even know what to call this color. So they're just starting to go over now, but they're really beautiful full. But they're kind of swamped. There's just like a lot going on over here. And I feel like each one of the spikes that has the flowers on it could become its own plant. So I think there's at least, I don't know, maybe 3 viable clumps kind of in that one clump. So I thought that if I divided it and planted it somewhere with more light, each one of those could then become big and beautiful on its own. And then kind of similarly, okay, this is like the biggest, fanciest one. And these ones have a magnificent scent. They just smell so perfumey. It's a little bit like, I don't know, it's hard to describe. I don't know, I want to say like, yeah, just perfumey is all I can, all I can come up with. But it's like a huge clump. These ones I maybe staked a little bit late, which is why the flowers are kind of all along the outside. I think I might try to do like a grid or something if I don't move them. So the idea again would be that I could move them and then create like, I don't know, there may even be like 10 different plants that I can get from this. So I thought it might look cool to plant them maybe behind the boxwood here and have like a hedge, and then they'll kind of be supported between the hedge and then like the planting over here that will also like help them stay upright. I don't know, still considering that one. So for me, the main reasons to dig up peonies and then potentially to divide them are either they're too shaded or planted too deeply and they're not like blooming well, or they're doing really well and I want more of them. So that would definitely be the case for these ones. And based on the success of like those other ones that I dug up and moved, I'm pretty tempted to do it. So for us, the best time of year would be like September time when the ground is still warm. We're starting to get like a little rain again. It'll be kind of lower maintenance to keep them moist, but I think they're also just pretty tough plants. So for the ones that I planted out there, I just enriched the soil a little bit. I added like a little compost and stuff to the holes, but that was basically it. And then they kind of just took off. I never have to irrigate them in the summer. I think because they bloom kind of late spring, so we still get like spring rains and stuff. And even if it's a dry summer, the foliage holds up pretty well. I just like deadhead them when they're done blooming. So yeah, they're such an awesome and rewarding plant, and so varied too. Both like color-wise, even structure-wise a little bit, scent-wise. I also have one variety that I planted, I want to say like 3 years ago, but it was from like a bare root and it was just like one, and it was like a tree peony, which maybe are a little bit slower to take off. Anyway, that bloomed for the first time this year too, so it was just like one big yellow flower, so that was really exciting. So in another 5 years, I might make a video about potentially dividing that one or trying to propagate that one as well. But yeah, anyway, thanks for coming along for a little peony tour and update, and I'll catch you next time.